Hello and welcome to the SWBN News Watch, where we report global events from a Christian perspective. I am Chimila Chike. Thanks for joining us today. Now let's take a quick look at the major stories that caught our attention during the week. Daily Trust has reported that the 13-year-old daughter of Reverend Daniel Umaru of EYN Church in Jairi, Mobi local government area of Adamawa State, has regained freedom. The report has it that the lone female child was abducted after her two male siblings were gunned down in an attack on their residence. The attackers also opened fire on the Reverend while his wife slipped into a coma. The incident had sparked outrage while Adamawa State Governor Amadu Fintiri charged security agencies to go after the attackers. During the burial of Umaru's sons, Xeri Daniel, aged 19, and Fanya Daniel, aged 23, Umaru's wife had said that their blood would bring back their sister. According to the Daily Trust, a family source had told them that the teenager was set free by her abductors after collecting a huge ransom. At the time of this report, Umaru was receiving treatment at the Modibo Adamawa University Teaching Hospital, Yola, due to gunshot injury and trauma. In Nigeria, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Kuka, has said it is unacceptable that Nigerian universities are still closed after so many months. Channels TV reports that Bishop Kuka stated this at the signing of a peace accord ahead of the Osun State gubernatorial election, where he asserted that the prolonged strike does not speak well of democracy we profess to be practicing. The cleric said it is quite sad that the strike has lasted this long, particularly because democracy has always given the people a platform for negotiation, consensus, and several other means for solving such issues that exist between the government and the authorities of the various universities. Kuka also appealed to members of the political class to make it possible for citizens to love and trust them, and to show that by choosing democracy. Some Christian students have also reacted to the ongoing strike in Nigerian federal universities. Let's hear what they had to say. Sharon Abugu, an undergraduate student at the University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, told us that the ongoing strike has affected their campus fellowship, among other things. Watch.
Hello, my name is Abugu Sharon and I'm a 200 level student of UNEC precisely. And we've been on strike for like 5 months now. So my campus fellowship has been affected very seriously, and we've had to go over to online meetings on WhatsApp and Telegram, and we have those meetings like twice in a week. Twice in a week. It's just that it's not easy to get people to come online because everybody's schedule is now so different. And I really miss those physical meetings that we have, the programs, the different wings having meetings, love feast, regular meetings that we have. I really miss them all.
Still on this, Onyinyechi Odukwe, an undergraduate student at the University of Calabar, told us how she has adapted to the ongoing strike. Watch.
Hi, my name is Onyinyechi. I'm a student of University of Calabar, 200 level business management, and so I just want to chip in my experience during the ASUU strike. So before the ASUU strike, I started a program. It's called ATS, Accounting Technician Scheme, and it's an ICAM program to be precise. And before the ASUU, so I started ATS 1. And I was able to clear my papers, and I'm currently in ATS 2. So this ASUU strike basically has it been beneficial for me? Yes, it has been, and it's affected me in a positive way because I have more time now to do my ATS and to read and prepare for my exam. And I know to some people it hasn't been because being at home and all could be traumatic.
Note that striking university unions, including Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, have lamented the effect of the no work, no pay policy invoked by the federal government, saying it was meant to weaken their resolve. The national president of ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, and SANU's national vice president, Dr. Abdul Salam, made this known in separate interviews with news sources. However, ASUU maintains that members of the union will remain steadfast even if they had to do menial jobs or embark on farming to get money. They have also advised President Muhammadu Buhari to take action by implementing the latest memorandum of agreement. Still in Nigeria, The Guardian had earlier reported that the Lord's Chosen Charismatic Revival Ministries had refuted claims on social media that its general overseer, Pastor Lazarus Moka, and the church are supporting a particular political party and its aspirant. The church disclosed this in a statement signed by its public relations director, Pastor Louis Chidi. The statement reads in part, quote, "We wish to state without equivocation that neither our general overseer nor the church has ever made any political statement in support of or against any person or party and have no cause to be involved in politics," unquote. Recall that during one of our panel discussions, we discussed the topic Christians and politics. Here we asked if the church should endorse political aspirants. This is what our guest speakers had to say. Watch.
I think for me, it's not about churches promoting candidates. These individuals are stakeholders of the state that they belong to. So for us on this platform, we're discussing about Nigeria. So these individuals are citizens of this country, and they have, by virtue of the Constitution, rights to vote and be voted for. So it happens that they are believers and they have certain values that governs their lives. But constitutionally, these individuals have the right to be voted for and to vote, not under the platform of any church or platform of any organization, but as citizens, as stakeholders of this particular country. And so for me, that question is an aberration about churches, mosques, promoting candidates. These candidates are first citizens of Nigeria before they are members of those churches or subscribing to whatever belief system that they have. So for me, it's an aberration. You have the constitutional right as a believer or as a Muslim or as an idol worshiper to contest, to make yourself available. But we'll just restrict our conversation to believers. What do they bring to the table, especially if they have the calling to function in those capacities?
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that. Following what Vino said and what Brother Amos Gaga has just said, sir, over to you, Brother Joe Idono. What's your position on this matter? Should the church endorse political candidates?
The church, like my brother Amos has said, first, every person who is a Nigerian has a constitutional right to aspire to whatsoever office he or she deems himself or herself qualified for. So that's the first thing. The fact of being a member of a church, a mosque, a whatever organization is secondary. Now, so having been clear that they are qualified, they can run. Now, the church, on the other hand, should not sponsor a candidate. The church, the mosque, whatever organization should not sponsor a candidate. That is not to say the candidate should not say, I belong to so and so church. There are two different things. We shouldn't mix them. That I belong to this church doesn't mean the church is sponsoring me, because the office I'm aspiring to does not belong to the church. It belongs to the country. It belongs to the local government. It belongs to the state. So people are free to aspire, and the church, if they want to back them up, that is fine. But we should know that it is citizens that are backing them up, not just their church members. Okay? So the church should not take the front seat and present it as if that candidate belongs to them. That is where the conflict comes from. But that is the nature of the religious politics we have in Nigeria, where we find that people are claiming, I'm a Muslim candidate, I'm a Christian candidate, and all that. Church and state should clearly be separated.
Still on Nigerian politics, some social media users have bashed Pastor Tunde Bakare over his support for the APC's Muslim ticket. One Instagram user, simply identified as Peter Omensa, described Bakare as a double-standard pastor. Another user, going by Jake Bar7, thought it not surprising that Bakare would support a Muslim ticket. In his words, quote, "Sellout pastor, so obvious God didn't call this one. I pity his members," unquote. More reactions are still trailing Bakare's stance at the time of this report. Bakare is the serving overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church and the former All Progressives Congress presidential aspirant. Moving on, Christianity Today has reported that some pro-life Christians hope the reversal of Roe v. Wade will help more countries outside the U.S. resist legalizing abortion. Under the landmark ruling for nearly 50 years, the United States modeled abortion rights as a standard, an inevitable sign of social progress. As abortion policy becomes a state-by-state issue, advocates say it would decrease the pressure the United States and U.S.-based aid groups put on foreign governments around abortion access, allowing them to focus on other aspects of women's health instead. Peter Saunders, the UK-based president of the International Christian Medical and Dental Association, said that, quote, "The Roe reversal will help show the rest of the world that this isn't a settled issue, even in the West, and will hopefully help our countries in the global South to resist pressure from the West to liberalize their abortion laws." Saunders went on to say that the Roe reversal will also make it much harder to argue at the United Nations that abortion is an international human right, when half the United States believes and will now enforce the exact opposite. Unquote. Still on this, Dr. Mike Chop, president of the United States-based Christian Medical and Dental Association, also noted that, quote, "In our experience, the American government since Roe has been trying to engage in what can only be described as ideological colonialism or imperialism to pressure the majority of the world to conform to U.S. standards on abortion." Moreover, Christianity Today has it that international pro-life advocates also believe that the reversal of Roe provides the chance for Christians to love not only unborn children, but their mothers too, a position championed by many Christian pro-lifers in the United States. Beyond the United States, we spoke to Sister Sharon Emeka Mordi, who works with the Mission Safe House, a Nigerian-based NGO that advocates for social transformation through the power of the gospel. This is what she had to say to people on how they helped save some people, on how they helped save some young girls from committing an abortion. Listen.
Wow, it's really a privilege to be here today to talk about a special topic. Now, this particular topic is not just one that we can push aside, is abortion. In our foundation, TMF, the Mission Safe House Foundation, we have had cases, by one or two, where we had to save young girls from engaging or committing abortion. When abortion is carried out, the young girl feel free. Okay, I'm free, I can start my life over again. But we have come to find out that 90% of abortion, if not well done, have a future medical effect on the girl child. And when life is now better for her, she's now married, she has a home, she will not be able to do her duty as a woman, because that abortion she did some years back has destroyed her life. Let's look at the other side, okay? If it's not affecting her health, it puts a scar. That's why I said there's a scar, an inner scar in the life of that young girl. Puts a scar in her. There's a feeling, there's that thing that no matter how evil the heart of that girl child is, or no matter how hard her heart is, there's a feeling that something wrong was done, no matter the age. It's the memory that's never forgotten. It's a memory that stays forever with that person who carried out that abortion. It's a memory that doesn't leave. So what I would like to say to every girl child that is listening to me today, or to the girl child that this message is going to be played to, whenever you find yourself, in such situation, in such crisis, please don't ever think abortion is the best option. Whenever you think that way, just look at it. If I were in this child's shoes, if, let's say, my mother was standing here and I was the one that was the baby about to be aborted, how do you think you will feel? How do you think you will feel? Now, a child is a child, irrespective of the way that child was birthed. God is God. I'm a believer, and I believe strongly in the word of God, and I believe strongly in purpose. Now, we have seen children that were born from unusual, bad circumstances, conceived in circumstances that are not to be mentioned here, but they have great people, great persons today, because we still serve a God of purpose.
All right, we'll have to pause her there. If you want to hear the full clip, we'll make it available for you on our social media accounts. Stay with us. Moving on, in Lahore, Pakistan, the Church in Chains, an Irish voice for persecuted Christians, has reported that 34-year-old Ashfaq Masih has been sentenced to death for blasphemy. In 2017, Ashfaq was accused of blasphemy for saying that Jesus Christ is the only true prophet. He has been in prison ever since, and as is common in blasphemy cases in Pakistan, his court hearings have been repeatedly cancelled, apart from one hearing in March 2022. However, on the 4th of July, he was sentenced to death by hanging. Ashfaq's family members are very upset, especially his older brother, Mahmood, and they plan to lodge an appeal. Mahmood described how on the morning of the 4th of July, Additional Session Judge Khalid Wazir announced the judgment and handed a copy of it to Ashfaq. Mahmood is quoted as saying that the sudden judgment stunned him and left him confused. In his words, and I quote, "I hardly gathered myself and came out of the courtroom and started crying, as it was the end of the world for me," unquote. Mahmood lamented about Ashfaq, his only brother, and is willing to do anything to save him. Ashfaq pleaded not guilty to the blasphemy charges against him. He described the allegations against him as baseless, false, and a frivolous and a framed-up attempt to destroy him and his flourishing mechanic business. He insists that he is innocent. In Uganda, Morning Star News has it that 3 men condemned a Christian convert to death for leading Muslims to Christ in eastern Uganda. Witness reports claim that 47-year-old Simolia Latifo of Molo Village, Kasasira Sub-County, Kiboko District, was slain with a sword at about 7:15 p.m. on the 3rd of July 2022. Before he was murdered, Latifo had left an evening service at Christ Discipleship Worship Center in Molo at about 6:30 p.m. that day. 3 witnesses claimed they saw a motorcycle and then heard wailing and calls for help at a nearby swamp at about 7:15 p.m. that Sunday evening. Further details from the Morning Star News tells us that the witnesses informed the church pastor Emmanuel Muzei and filed a report with the police at about midnight. Officers and area residents went to the area early morning on July 4th and confirmed that the body was that of Latifo. Meanwhile, Pastor Muzei is quoted as saying that angry Christian residents from Molo Village flooded the swamp to mourn the death of their beloved convert from Islam, who had been going from one church to another, testifying about how he converted to Christianity. In Muzei's words, and I quote, "His testimony was an encouragement to many Christians in my church and led many to Christ. We have lost a dynamic evangelist," end of quote. Still on this, the report has it that the police arrested one of the 3 key suspects in Latifo's murder, taking him to Kiboko police station amid tight security as residents sought to kill him. One of the murderers, identified as Ali, told the police that, quote, "We warned him to come back to our religion and gave him several opportunities, but he turned a deaf ear. We are proud of killing him," unquote. At the time of this report, officers were still hunting for the other 2 suspects. Latifu is survived by his wife and 5 children. And that will be all for this edition of the SWBN News Watch. Thank you so much for staying with us. Don't forget to join us next Thursday by 9 p.m. Till we meet again, I remain Chimela Chike. God bless you and stay safe.